Okay, so I'm just recording this after I've already recorded the video. Basically, for those who don't want to sit through the entire video, anti-gravity is pretty good. It did run into the same error other models have run into with the tailwind error. But yeah, you can see that later on in the video. Would I recommend that you use anti-gravity over Gemini CLI, which is what I've been pushing up until now? No, for actual like working projects that you're actually going to publish somewhere, I don't recommend you use something like this over Gemini CLI, just because Gemini CLI gives you so much more control over the code you're putting in and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, anti-gravity is pretty good. It will probably get better with future updates, and it's free right now, so you might as well check it out. And with that, let's jump into the video. Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be looking at Google Antigravity, which is the new AI IDE, kind of like Cursor or Windsurf, except this is completely free. Also, this is using Gemini 3.0 Pro, which if you're using something like Gemini CLI, you're only getting version 2.5 Pro or Flash, depending on if you have a Pro license or not. So with Gemini 3 Pro, it's much better at coding and stuff like that. I actually tested it out on Google AI Studio last night. And yeah, with this Google Anti-Gravity, you're basically getting Gemini 3 for free and you're getting a free AI IDE. So yeah, let's install this and check it out. I've already run the installer and I'm at the setup screen, so I'll just skip through this. And yeah, I'm going to click Start Fresh here because I don't want to import my VS Code settings into this. I'm just going to leave everything as default. Okay, so yeah, we'll just leave everything at default. We can always customize it later. And I'm going to hit Next here. And now it wants us to sign into Google, so I'm going to do this quickly and be back. Okay, so now that we're in, it looks kind of like Visual Studio Code. With most of these AI IDEs that we see, they're just using Visual Studio Code as a base and then building on top of it, which is the same as what we see here. So it has the standard things, the agent on the right-hand side, and then our files on the left-hand side and the editor in the center. So this is looking similar to what we've seen in Cursor. Okay, so let's give it the standard test once all of the updates are done. I'm just going to open up the React folder here. We're going to ask it to make a Pokemon website and then see what it does from there. I haven't created the project to start with here because we're going to give it the full test. Ask it to create the React project from scratch, make a Pokemon website, and also we want to see if it can put images on there. Because when we tested this with Cursor and I think Windsurf before, it was able to create the React app. It did have a bit of trouble importing Tailwind and configuring it because of conflicting data. Basically, there's a new version of Tailwind where the setup is completely different from old versions. So yeah, Cursor and Windsurf were having problems with that. I do have a video of how to set up the new version of Tailwind if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, as I was saying, the previous editors that we tested did manage to create the React project, create the Pokemon site, but they did struggle with Tailwind, and also they did struggle to find images to put on the website. So a few of them tried to draw their own images, which didn't end up very well. And some of them tried randomly guessing URLs of Pokemon images, which also didn't end up well. Okay, so now that all the updates are done, I have gone through this a bit and I found that it installed a bunch of extensions on its own here. So these are for different programming languages. And then we also have Remote Explorer here, which it installed on its own. Basically, if you're running like a container in Docker or something, you can connect to it through this and then use anti-gravity to code on there. So if you want to set up a development environment like that, it's already set up to do that. I'm just going to open the folder that we created here earlier. So it's under Documents and then React. And yeah, I'm going to trust the authors here. Okay, so this is how it will look when you first open up a project here. So I'm going to tell it to create a Pokemon website here, the standard stuff that we ask any AI we're testing to do. Okay, so I just gave it a basic prompt, create a Pokemon website for a new game using React. We can select a model down here, which we're just going to use Gemini 3 Pro, and we're going to leave everything as is. And while this is running, I did notice a agent manager up here. So basically you can launch multiple agents at once here and then have them each do a different thing, but we're not really going to touch that right now. Planning Pokemon website. So yeah, this is basically the same as what you'd see in Cursor. I think, in my opinion, there's no difference between using Antigravity and Cursor. The only difference is the model that you're going to get with it. As I said, this does allow you to use Gemini 3 Pro for free, which you wouldn't get if you're using Cursor. Okay, so here it's giving us the plan. So the way this works is it gives you a task list, which I've seen in the new updates of Gemini CLI as well, where it first creates a list of the things it's going to do and then goes through it one by one. Here it says we can also comment on each of these if we need to tell the AI something. So I'm just going to go through this quickly and make sure it's all correct. Okay, so everything it has here in the plan is fine, but I did just want to try adding a comment. So I told it not to add all of the Pokemon and just to add the first 3 starter Pokemon that you usually get in Gen 1. Actually, I forgot to add the 1 here. But yeah, it was originally planning to add an entire Pokédex with all of the Pokemon that you'd get in the game here. So yeah, I'm just going to hit review here. Okay, so I was a bit confused there, but basically when you comment on something, it doesn't change the plan immediately. It puts these pending comments down here, which will probably get injected into the agent after we run the next command. So I'm just going to hit accept here to create the React project. And yeah, now the comments we added in get sent to the AI agent. And we do see that updated here now. So originally it was saying it's going to create a Pokédex showing all of the Pokemon, but now we're just showing the starter Pokemon here, which is what I wanted. Okay, so I do see a bit of a problem here. So every time it does recommend commands to run, it's not actually showing me what it's going to run. I did look around a bit, but I think I may be missing something, or maybe it just doesn't tell you what it's going to run in the terminal, which I really don't like. But yeah, I'm just going to accept this for now and hope they fix these errors in the future. Okay, so now it's actually showing me what it's running in the terminal. Before this, I just got these strange symbols, which I'm not sure what they're meant to represent. And I had to read through the thought process here to figure out what it was trying to do in the terminal. Okay, now one cool thing that I did notice here is that it ran the npm install to grab all of the packages that we need. And while that was busy installing, it actually went ahead and started doing something else, like viewing the directories and stuff like that and waiting for the packages to install. So it's cool that it can multitask and do multiple things at the same time. Okay, and now it's actually running a build verification, which in React or Next.js or something like that, code might work perfectly fine, but when you actually try to build the code, it runs something called a linter. And the linter has very strict rules about which code is allowed to run or not, and you'll always run into this if you're trying to deploy it on a live server. I actually had this problem yesterday where I wrote code that was perfectly working, but when I tried to deploy it, I ran into errors with the linter because my code wasn't strictly following the rules that the linter has. So yeah, now it's done with that, and actually we have an error here. So agent terminated due to error. You can prompt the model to try again or start a new conversation. So I'm just going to hit accept all here, and then I'm going to tell it to continue. Okay, so I just prompted it to continue there, and it did. I'm not sure what that API error was. Now it's generated us a walkthrough for how to run this program. I'm just going to run npm run dev here, and then we'll see what it has built. But yeah, hopefully that was just like an error with my internet connection and nothing to do with Antigravity itself. So let's just run this and see how it works. Okay, so I like how the website itself looks. It has a good landing page, maybe a bit more animations here. It looks a bit dull. There's no images or anything on here. It did do the images really well, which all previous models that we've tried have failed on the images. I'm not sure if it did use Tailwind in this. We can quickly check the project, and no, I don't see anything about Tailwind here. So it didn't try to install Tailwind. So the next step we're going to do here is I'm going to ask it to add Tailwind into the project for us. And yeah, this is where the real test is, because with the image error that we get with other AI agents, we could always just find our own images and use it in the tools that they create. But for something like errors installing packages like Tailwind, that's not something that a beginner developer that's just moving over to vibe coding and doesn't really have the experience to sort out those packages themselves will be able to handle. So let's see how Antigravity and Gemini 3 handle this. Okay, so we've run into the exact same error that we get with other models here. Basically, the install instructions that these models have are for Tailwind version 3. But in the new version 4 that's released, the setup is completely different. So the instructions that it's familiar with to set up Tailwind doesn't work anymore. But here it does give a solution. So it wants us to downgrade to Tailwind version 3. I'm just going to let it do that for now, but I do want like future models to be able to use version 4 because there's a lot of cooler stuff there. But I'm just going to accept this for now. Okay, so it has downgraded Tailwind and it looks like it succeeded in installing it and setting it up. I also asked it to redesign the site, so let's look at this. Okay, so now the site looks a bit better. It's not as bland as it was before. If we look at the older version, which I don't have loaded here, it didn't have any animations or stuff. It was just text in the center and then basically just a blank empty screen on the sides. So now it also has some stats here for the Pokemon. And yeah, I think this is pretty good. Would I use Antigravity over something like Gemini CLI? I don't think I would use it in an actual project just because it's way too automated. Like, as I said in the beginning, some of the stuff it wanted to run in the terminal, it didn't even properly explain what it was trying to do. So if this was a real project, I definitely couldn't just allow it to run any commands it wanted in the terminal. Yeah, I think I would just stick to Gemini CLI if I was working on an actual project. If I was just making something for fun, since Gemini 3 is free here, I think this is the IDE that I would use. But yeah, for the most part, I think I'll just stick with the Gemini CLI for now. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.